as well as by the Arab colonialists. There are always black scapegoats who are left holding the blame. And in this case, Nongqawuse was. According to South African official history books, we are told that Nongqawuse had had a dream that her people must kill their cattle, her people must destroy their crops. And as a result of Nongqawuse's dream, thousands died. And another lie was added to compound this infamous lie. We were told that Nongqawuse had been a child when she had this dream. But that's a lie, sir. Photographs of Nongqawuse taken after the terrible disaster show her as a mature woman who is wearing a beaded blanket, and on that beaded blanket it is shown clearly in beaded patterns that she was a Sangoma who had undergone several initiations. She was not a girl, but a spinster woman in her 25th year. And Nongqawuse had not had a dream whatsoever. She had seen apparitions. She had seen men who posed as gods, who were disguised as supernatural beings, and she had not been alone. And another thing, the Xhosa people would never have listened to the word of any mature child on a serious matter like this, because to all African people, cattle and crops were not regarded as their property, but rather as the property of the ancestral spirit. Now, Nongqawuse became a scapegoat. For a long, long time, our people hated Nongqawuse for the dream she had supposedly. And after I had brought questions about this story, after I had been torn apart by newspaper men, Nongqawuse's story was suddenly changed and totally omitted in South African history. I can show you some of these books where this story doesn't occur at all.
Taylor, is this story that you're telling in this one incident, can you repeat that again and again across Southern Africa as the Europeans took over? Was it a method they constantly used?
Yes, sir. Yes. You see, I can tell you a lot of things that were done. Some of the bloody wars which were started in South Africa between white men and black men were actually engineered by supposedly ancestral spirits, where a king suddenly saw an apparition. Now let me tell you, sir, one of these amazing stories, of which there are well over 100. And it is a true story that is known to every student of history in the land known as Lesotho. There was a great king, sir. The king's name was Muhlomi. Muhlomi was a priest king. He was a man who was both a healer and a king. Muhlomi was getting old, and he had received many wounds in battle, fighting to protect his people against invaders. One day, Muhlomi was in his house when somebody knocked on the door frame of the house. And Muhlomi asked the intruder to come in. And into their hut there came a frightening being. A being whose face was as white as the face of death. A being which wore a hood over its head. A being with unnaturally wide shoulders. A being who wore a long robe of sable antelope skin. This being squatted near the entrance of the hut in which Muhlomi was. And the being told Muhlomi that he was to take one of his golden earrings, the earrings of kingship, and go on foot for a long distance to find a young man known as Dipoko, and to give him this earring. But what are you saying, great one? Said Muhlomi, utterly terrified by this unearthly being. You are saying that I, Muhlomi, must go and find this boy and make him my successor? And the being said, yes, we, your forefathers, order you to do this. Muhlomi was thunderstruck. He tried to argue, because Muhlomi had sons whom he was hoping would succeed him after death. Now he was now being told to go and seek out a strange young man and make him future king of the Basotho people. And as Muhlomi tried to speak, the terrible tall being stood up in the hut and threw a handful of black powder on into the fireplace. There was a terrible flash, a burst of white smoke, and as Muhlomi shielded his eyes, the being left the hut. On the following day, Muhlomi told his people this in a council meeting, and the people advised Muhlomi to obey. You are the king, Muhlomi. You have been our king for a long time. You are blameless and you are as brave as a lion. But against the gods, what can you do? And thus it was that King Muhlomi was given a tame ox by his people.